exactly what you were saying at the beginning, Terry, about, Spurs need to decide whether they're a kind of club where, you bring in the likes of, Mourinho's and Conte's. But if you do bring those kind of managers, you have to go out there and spend 300 million, 400 million to build them a squad. Whereas Tottenham have never been that kind of, or at least Levy has never been that kind of thing.
You can't go and buy a Ferrari unless you have the money to run a Ferrari. You can't put crap fuel in it. You can't put crap oil in it. You can't put rubbish tires on it. It's fucking expensive to insure, and driving to the shops costs about £100. You need to, and that's an important point, because you can't be a big club unless you're prepared to pay the wages. So, and this isn't a dig at Tottenham, and I always say this, I know people take it as one. You need to decide on what you want to be, but whatever you decide, you've got to be prepared to spend that money. The reason some people saying, Terry, Man United have been dead for years, why are you still frustrated? Because we spend the same money on salaries and transfers as all the clubs at the top in all the major leagues. If we started spending the same as Brighton, I wouldn't be happy with that decision. But then coming mid-table, well, we only spend what mid-table teams spend, so therefore we're mid-table. Spurs feel to me like you're in between two different things. You feel like you're in between.
This goes back to Pochettino. When the stadium was built, he said it's no good having a beautiful house if you're going to fill it with crap furniture. It's been going on for years, and it's because of that.
No, it's Ange's fault.
That runs our football club.
There's a super chat here. I want to pose
1,000%. I agree with you 1,000%.
I want to pose this super chat to Mr. Box Office. It says Spurs have been crap since November 2023. You can't blame all things on injuries. It's amazing that Ange, over 70 games in, is still protected by his first 10. How do you feel about all of this, Mr. Box Office? If you know, you know.
We got Terry. Sorry. Yeah, big up Terry, big up to the Football Terrace. Mr. Box Office back in the building, talking the truth like I always did about this manager. It's funny now, there's a word that I need to say, and someone just said it, and I've said it a couple of times. I've been told I'm a fool, I'm an Arsenal fan for saying this. Excuses, what I've just heard just right now. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Some people have had a go at me, and they're saying the same thing I've been saying since June 2023 about this manager. That I said that was absolutely bang average as far as I'm concerned. I couldn't get up behind somebody I didn't really know about him. Well, I know now he's not a really good. Well, I knew he's not a good coach. It's exactly what we need, a coach. He's not, and that's it for me. People now make excuses about the injuries. Well, against Newcastle, we had our full team out, only Van der Ven, because we knew his hamstring was going to tick. Look what happened. We lost the game. Ipswich. Do you ever going to have excuses about Ipswich? We had a full team there, didn't we? We still lost the game at home, by the way. What about Leicester City? We drew the game. We had our full team out. So I don't want to hear these excuses. It's because of this manager, right? Who's staying and who's getting back? Because let's be honest here, he's the worst manager since Christian Gross. Let that sink in. 1998. Yeah, back in 1998, we're talking about here. You know what I mean? And you're telling me that he should be like this excuses. I didn't even like Mourinho, and I'm going to say it right now because Terry's going to pull me up on it because I was on this show before that I couldn't stand Mourinho. I couldn't stand Conte. I couldn't stand Nuno. But they're better than this manager right now. I'm sorry, right? As far as I'm concerned, it's on the manager, right? The fact that people are loving this manager so much, that's why people talk about Daniel Levy. It's got nothing to do with Daniel Levy. It's got absolutely nothing to do with Daniel Levy right now because Daniel Levy would have sacked him by now and he would have been out the door. You know what I mean? The only reason why I'm saying don't sack him, I don't want Mason in charge, right? Because we got a second plan. Because I'll take Areola over this manager. I'll take Marco Silva over this manager. I'll take Eddie Howe if he was available over this manager because they are coaches. Pochettino was a coach. Martin Yole was a coach. Harry Redknapp wasn't a coach, he was a manager, but he had coaches under him that gave him. I've got on good authority, he's got coaches under this guy that he doesn't even listen to. And don't even get me started on Johan Lang, because now I'm even more embarrassed myself that I criticised Parategy. I want him doing the transfers again. How embarrassing is that? See, hindsight's a beautiful thing back at being a Tottenham fan, like I said, every single time. You know what I mean? That's why the song goes like this. Back to life, back to reality. Back to reality again for Tottenham fans again and again. Every single time. I need to go back to going to the Soko event, because I've had enough of this rubbish. You know what I mean? Kate can tell the truth, even though she's been criticising me how many times, and that's it. But big up to you, Jacob, because we're always turning up and everything else and that. I'm out of it. I'm out of this crap, man. I've had enough of this. Big up back to you, Terry, to say something stupid.
I love you, bro. I love you, bro.
Did you just leave?
Can I just say
You know
something?
what's really funny? You know what's really funny? I love about him. Me and him actually agree on most things Tottenham. He just still holds it against me that I still think there's an element of truth to this. Some blokes, they get left by their missus or their missus leaves and they never get over it. 30 years, 40 years. Like he is still holding a torch for Pochettino is what part of it is. But yeah,
I don't understand the Tottenham fans have been doing this for a while. They're like, look, I picked the losing lottery numbers. How smart am I? It's like, that's the easy choice, right? I feel like it's harder to try and back something that is less plausible to happen.
You get it in the walks. This was directed towards me earlier, but it's simple. From Harrison Long. He said, Terry, interesting how in the past you were told to stop talking about owners. So when Man United had been bad up until Ineos, whenever I mentioned the owners, I got told, don't talk about the owners. Don't speak about what they do, players and manager. Ever since Ineos got here, every show it's, what about your owners? What about your owners? What about your owners? And this is the way people work online. If they predict something being bad, there's almost like this, there is such this narcissism around, I've got to be right. And now listen, we all at times will speak about things that we've got right or we've got wrong. You can't not do that in this sort of space. But it's a bit weird at times. It's almost like, I don't know about you. I know he seemed angry, but he seemed more happy to say, I told you so than anything else. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's how I come across. But yeah, there we go.
I'm not going to say who, but I've had big Tottenham content creators text me saying that they like it more when we lose because they get less abuse than when we win because of whatever. So to me, when YouTube starts skewing how you want the game to go for your club, that's a problem.
I agree. I think if you look, just don't even think Tottenham or Man United, look at certain content creators across all clubs, when their team, if they're like uber positive, look how they behave on shows where their team's losing. If they're uber negative, look how they start behaving on shows, especially watch-alongs, when their team starts winning. You can see in their head, it's, my next show isn't going to do as well, or my numbers are going to drop, or I can't say I was right. And it's a problem for them. And for me, it's, I don't know. I find it all a little bit strange. I get called out all the time for like why are you backing Ineos? It's like, well, actually, for the first time in the last 11 years, I've been given what I asked for, which was ownership that he's going to try and rebuild and restructure the whole club. That's why I'm not going crazy, because if they end up, it's going to take 3 to 4 years. And it's like every day I'm being told, well, you've got to give us a new assessment on how things are going. I'm not going to give a progress update after every training session or every match. We need to do it in chunks. You know what I mean? Maybe every 6 months, every you sort of look at it. Is it going in the right direction, a bad direction? I just find it really strange but the reason that is because people are kind of desperate to be right. And this will happen in the Man United fan base. Say we start next season really well, win our first 3 or 4 or 5 games, 6 games. It'll be, Terry, you said it's going to take 3 or 4 years to get this good. No, it's going to take 3 or 4 years to get to a level where we could potentially challenge year in, year out for Premier Leagues. That's not go on a good run here or win a trophy there. It's, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard having these conversations.
It's like Jacob said. Sorry, I was just going to say it's easier to say the bad thing's going to happen because most of the time it does. And then you can go, see, I told you so. I get it all the time. Alex basically said there that I've been saying to him all this time and now I've changed my tune. Well, I just prefer to give people time before I judge. But there's only so much defending of a manager.
And Kate, and everyone has a breaking point, right? Everyone has a certain limit of patience that they can give to any player, manager, or anything of the sort. So it's all relative at the end of the day. That's why with Kate saying that she's done now or she was done before, or Henry comes here and he said he was done a long time ago. It doesn't really matter. It's relative.
Then what you get is the people that, but I said it first, so how dare you now say it? You And it's not so much people. Sometimes I look at it this way with United. It's like, okay, I weren't happy with that thing that Ineos did today. But it's like, rivals aren't talking about it. The media are not really talking about it. Why are we like bringing a negative light on sometimes I feel like you don't need to bring a negative light on your club. And it's like, so I'm calling out why you're bringing it up. Fair enough. And a year later, I might go, actually, now that that's being said, well, you shouldn't mention it now because you didn't call it out a year ago. Fucking says who? The battle of I see it the other day with, there was something that it came up with the other day. My head's now gone. But Sam gets it all the time with slot out. It was a funny bit of banter a few weeks ago when he first started saying we might win the league. But then once you bantered him, you leave it up. There are people every show. Oh, Sam, remember when he was slot out? Yeah, he got something wrong. So what? He made an opinion. He changed his mind. It's kind of strange. It is really, really strange.
Yeah, and as a married man, I'm used to being wrong, so I'm totally fine if I'm wrong. I don't care. I'm used to it.
I hear you.
I'll be happy to be wrong every week as long as Spurs win.
Spurs win. That's all I care about. I'll be wrong about everything as long as Spurs win.
David here says, remember when Ange rushed Romero and Van der Ven, then he got injured right away. We needed to hold him accountable.
Different injuries, though. Romero had one injury that he came back from. Then he got a separate injury on a separate leg. So not relevant.
What happened with Bentancur, right? The guy got 7 games suspension. And in the game that he comes back in the first 10 minutes, he weird freak act, the way he tried to get that ball. And then now he's been out since, with concussion. So
have they said what happened to him? Was it just concussion where he hit his head on the floor? Is that what happened? All right, cool.
Yeah, he weirdly tried to get his head to the ball and just end up smacking the the ground.
Well, not good, but
and it was
better than some of the mad rumors I was hearing. So good news that. He showed no plan or effort. He just lets it happen. No commanding, no voice, no emotion. Arms crossed, ignoring the fans. It's not good at all. It's dangerously bad. I think it's a money thing. I think they're talking about Big Ange. There must be Big Ange talking about. I would assume. Yeah. Look, I think. Listen, the one thing I'd say in defense of Ange is, I think to be a kind of head coach or a manager, I think there is a certain level of arrogance you have to have as a person. And I almost think that's important because of the level of scrutiny that you get. It's the first time in his career he's probably faced this level of scrutiny, a team being this bad. And that's hard for an ego to take a little bit. So, and
he's not the first.
No.
Jose, Conte, we can go down the list. Everyone comes here and this is the hardest hill to climb. There's a reason for that. Oh, but it's Ange's fault.
Blaze says, all these waffle about injuries you see every week, you'll play an offside trap from the halfway line and you wonder why you keep getting injuries. Even City don't do that.
I don't think we've run an offside trap at the halfway line, personally. And the high line hasn't even been the issue of conceding goals, in my opinion. But
here we go.
Everyone sees the game different.
Ange is a Graham Potter at Chelsea. That's what Ange is. Separate, but not. I do want to ask is he in it for the money? Because his emotion and arms crossed, no emotion stuff was talking to him on the sidelines and he just ignored them. Well, you mean like he's doing it so he gets sacked, so he just gets the money? I don't know.
I don't see Ainge personally as that kind of a guy, but I don't know him personally, so I don't know. He could be. Who cares? He's an old dude trying to get the bag, fine, but I don't know him personally. I know he wants to win. He shows and exudes that he's very frustrated every time we lose, and then everyone's like, oh, why aren't you all happy? We just drew a game we should have won. And he's like, well, of course he's not going to be happy in a post-match presser, but, I mean, to me, he looks frustrated as hell, just like every Tottenham fan. He is exuding what I think every Tottenham fan is feeling in that moment, which is arms crossed, and they're tired of seeing this.
Yeah, and there are some people who flap their arms around and screaming and shouting and going red, and there are other people who do just stand there and just kind of.
But if he's getting paid 9 million a year, there's something he should be geeing them players up and shouting at them players. I'm sorry.
So we want to get him pom poms and a tutu and let him dance around and go Tottenham. We got it, boys.
That it'd be more entertaining than the football.
I feel like grown men should be able to like look around at the other players on the pitch. The ones who kick the ball and say, "Let's do better. Let's stop giving the ball away. Let's play composed. Let's not allow singing fans to rattle us." But you saw 10 Tamworth fans outside the grounds was enough to rattle us.
Well, yeah, but then you can say the captain should be able to do that as well. But I don't see any of that.
Yes, the leadership group is Ainge's fault, and I've always, me and a few others said that I feel like that might be his downfall is appointing the leadership group.
But there is that, and at the same time, I still also think when you look at your ownership, give him something new, give him something different. You can clearly see that there's a confidence crisis within the squad at the moment, and a new player or two can just help change that mood. My club's going through the same thing. I know we're probably trying to sell before we buy. That's what I'm hoping we're looking to do. Because if we do let Anthony and Garnacho and Rashford go and we bring nobody else in, we'll be in even more trouble, because at least they're a body, if that makes sense. But I just feel like you guys really could do with a shot in the arm. Thank you.